Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live picture video. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Vicki Kraft. I am the State Policy Fellow with the Michigan League for Public Policy. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes today to talk with you about a new report that we're really excited about that has been released today. And so you can check it out on our website whenever you'd like. And the report is Building a Thriving Main Street, Charting Success for Michigan's Immigrant Entrepreneurs. So I wanted to share with you all about this report. As I was doing the research, I had the privilege of talking to some of the Main Street immigrant business owners in Grand Rapids, and so I'll be excited to share with you about them. And I also just wanted to remind you that if you have any questions or comments as we are having this conversation, please feel free to drop us a question in the comments. Another thing we'd love for you to do is that I know that we all have a local immigrant-owned business that we love and patronize often. So please share with us in the comments, tag your favorite local immigrant-owned business, and bonus points if you tell us why you love them. We'd love to know. So as I was sharing, for those of us just joining us, we're chatting about a new report on immigrant-owned businesses and the many ways that immigrant business owners contribute to our local economies. And I want to start off by explaining, first defining what Main Street businesses are, what we mean when we talk about Main Street businesses. So Main Street businesses are smaller scale, locally owned businesses, and they tend to focus broadly in the sectors of retail, accommodation and food services, and neighborhood services. So everything from our local grocer to beauty salon to a restaurant, those are all what we consider to be Main Street businesses. And as we were doing the research for this, one of the things that we found is that immigrants and as workers and as entrepreneurs are playing a really big role in our economy in everything that they do. So even though immigrants only make up 7% of our workforce in Michigan, they make up 20% of all Main Street business owners. So immigrants are very likely to become business owners, to be entrepreneurs, to pursue that dream, and that's just something that's really exciting and really important to highlight as we talk about immigrant contributions. And I want to give you a brief overview of the report. So, as entrepreneurs, immigrants are helping to supply jobs, they're revitalizing investments in areas that have declined, and they provide needed services to community members. So according to the data that we have from the American Community Survey, we find that immigrant business owners generated approximately $1.3 billion in earnings in the state economy. And specifically, when we're talking about Main Street business owners, that are immigrants, they generated approximately $336 million in earnings. But we know that this story isn't one about numbers, solely about numbers. More than that are the stories of immigrant business owners who are playing a big role in our local communities. Oftentimes we find that immigrant businesses are an anchor in their communities. They're there for social support. They're providing services and products that immigrants perhaps or other community members can't find elsewhere. So in that way, they're meeting, they're helping close a gap in services and products available for local community members. And so that's something that's, really, really awesome and really important to share. And in my research for this report, as I mentioned, I got to talk to some business owners in Grand Rapids. And one of these was Farouk, who is the owner of Mediterranean International Foods, which is a local grocery store in Grand Rapids. And he and his brother initially, he and his family migrated here from Jordan in 1972. And he and his brother decided that they saw a small but growing immigrant population, and they saw a need for a local grocer that was making some of these products available that they couldn't find elsewhere. So they opened up a really small grocery store. They hired their first employee, which was a butcher, and that's it. It was just both of them and the butcher. And for many years, that's just what they did. To get to that point, however, they had to lean on their family support and personal savings. Like many immigrants, they didn't know about resources in the community, like business training and planning. They didn't know about any, local financing options that were available for low-income, entrepreneurs. And so they really just depended on family and personal savings, and were able to open up the small grocery store. For those of you who live in Grand Rapids or who have visited the area, you might recognize the name Mediterranean International Foods. It's now a huge bustling grocery store that has over 25 employees and offers food products from over 25 different countries. So they have definitely expanded. But more than that, this grocery store is very much an anchor in the Grand Rapids community. Farouk told me in our conversation that refugees who have recently resettled in the area often come through, local nonprofits that serve them, are often brought to the grocery store because they feel at home. Refugees and immigrants immediately feel at home there, can find the products from, their home countries that they miss, and also just connect with other immigrants, who frequent the store. And Farouk tells me that they often just hang out and have coffee, for several hours. So in that way, his store is helping to be a place for social support for immigrants in that community, and that's just a really wonderful thing. So I just want to reiterate for those of you who are joining us, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Vicki Kraft, and I'm here talking about a new report from the League on the contributions of immigrant entrepreneurs. So I just want to remind you that you can feel free to drop a question or a comment in the comments section if you have any questions. And please share your favorite locally owned, immigrant-owned business in your community that you like to frequent. And like I said, bonus points if you tell us why you love them. So let us know. And before I talk about Olga, who is the other immigrant entrepreneur that I spoke with as I was doing the research for this report, I also want to share some of the recommendations that we share. So we know that, immigrants as newcomers in our communities often have trouble connecting with local resources, whether it's because of language barriers or just that, cultural differences. They just don't know what's available in our communities, and so often don't know where to find help. And so for entrepreneurs, the story isn't too different. A lot of immigrants aren't familiar with American lending practices. They don't know of, local initiatives from cities or counties that help or support not immigrants, but entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. And so, for them, it can often be difficult to start up a business, to be able to raise that initial capital to be able to open their businesses. So policymakers, we know that are ways that policymakers and local business communities can support immigrant entrepreneurs, and in that way strengthen our economy and local economies as well. So first of all, of course, facilitating access to financing is such an important step. It's, for many, the very first step is making sure you have that startup capital to be able to lease a space, to be able to stock your shelves, those sorts of things. And there's really simple ways of making this happen. So community development fund institutions are one way that is already out there. They're a valuable resource for Michigan communities. And they provide business training and just knowledge about how to apply for a loan, and just being able to expand those across the state, outside of our larger metro areas would be a very valuable resource for immigrants. Also, as I mentioned, providing business planning and management training is something that is really vital and really important for immigrants and just all, low and middle income entrepreneurs who may not be familiar with the process. And also leveraging federal funds to support entrepreneurs. So, some people may not know, but the Community Development Block Grant, or the CDBG, is a federal program that provides funding to state and local areas to be able to develop communities and develop and strengthen economies. And so some of these funds can be used to actually support entrepreneurs, and they already are. There's an agency that is helping to implement this grant money and make sure that supporting low and middle income entrepreneurs. And so our suggestion is just making sure that we're doing the outreach for immigrants because they often don't know about these resources. And also another recommendation that we have are what are called welcoming city initiatives. So this is, again, something that's already out there. Welcoming Michigan is a program project of the Michigan Immigrant Rights Center, and I believe it's also sort of collaborative. Other organizations help to support this at the local level. So just expanding welcoming city initiatives is something that can help ease racial tensions at the local level and support immigrants, wherever they are in the state of Michigan. And finally, last but not least, is making official documentation available for immigrants. This is something that those of us who are born in the US sometimes take for granted, that we can have a state ID, that we can have a driver's license in our state and be able to travel easily. But for many immigrants, this is a really big hurdle for them, not being able to sign up and obtain a driver's license. And honestly, a driver's license and a state ID is just so essential for every stage of building your business, from leasing a space to opening up a bank account, all to being able to travel from one place to another, maybe deliver your product. It's just essential that you have a state ID or a driver's license. So that's also, policy recommendation that we make those available to immigrants regardless of, immigration status. And so just wanted to reiterate, thanks to everyone who has joined us. We were so happy that you are willing to share some of your lunch hour with us to talk about immigrant business owners. I have a little visual support here that you might be able to see. It just kind of highlights the recommendations that we talked about here. So I'm going to scroll through the comments here and I see that a lot of people are tagging some of their favorite local businesses. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing, and feel free to share this video, get others to join us here on this conversation. And really quickly, I just want to talk about Olga, who is another business owner, and how she sort of got to where she is now. So Che Olga is a really prominent restaurant in Grand Rapids, and Olga originally migrated to Grand Rapids from Haiti in 1993. And when she first arrived, she never imagined that she would open her own business, but it was due to the encouragement of her family and friends who told her, your food is really delicious, you really need to make this into a business, that she finally decided to pursue that dream. But she quickly realized, the different barriers that immigrants have to opening up a business, whether it's language or just not knowing who to contact at the city level, not knowing who is a resource. But it wasn't until, through several years of saving, for that startup capital, that she shared her story on Facebook, actually through this medium, and her story went viral and caught the attention of the local news. And so the local news actually featured Olga, and she started to receive donations from, anonymous community members wanting to support her business idea, and she was finally able to open her doors in 2010. And today, Che Olga is, as I mentioned, a really popular restaurant and helps to connect a lot of immigrants in the community. But Olga really pointed out that, it was just that there's still a very big need for these resources and outreach, especially to immigrants who don't know what's available around them. So she shared that, and it's just, her story is really unique. I mean, I think we all know it shouldn't take a story going viral for her to receive the support that she needs to be able to open her business. But it's just another example of how immigrants, save through several years to be able to raise the capital to open a business, and how important a business can be in a local community. So as I mentioned, our report is live on our website now, and I actually can't remember how to share my screen here, but if you all visit mlpp.org, you can visit our under our top tabs. You can see there's what we do, and immigration is its own tab. So if you visit our immigration page, you can see there our report should pop up first thing, and you can download a PDF. You can share it on social media. So please feel free to do any of those things. We're just provided a link in the comments, so just click on that and it should take you straight to the report. But thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone. Bye.